What's up? Today I'm here with my man Markayle, and he bought his family land back. All right, this is interesting. We all hear about how people lose their family land and you never hear about it again, just sob stories and people with their head down, but not my man Markayle. Markayle, he actually got the land back. So first thing first, Markayle D'Angelo Gray, I want to thank you for doing this video, taking time out your day. You are also a North Carolina Central alumni, which I love because my mother graduated from North Carolina Central. They told me no, but they told him yeah, and that's always important. That was a good gamble. The reason why it was a good gamble because he bought his family land back, God damn it. He made something of himself. So, all right, you're a Charlotte native.
Yes, sir.
Born and raised in Charlotte. I don't have to tell you about all the gentrification, the changes from what happens from when that happened in your lifetime.
Right.
Because you've seen it up close and personal. You've seen Charlotte go into a very, I would say, a cheap city to an unaffordable city in the South.
Right.
You've seen that happen. However, you didn't sit back on the sideline and just let and complain, let life happen. You got out there and did something. So I want to start off. All right, you went to Central. Okay, you go to Central. What did you major in at Central?
English.
Okay.
I knew I was going to become a teacher.
All right.
So I went into education right afterwards, went straight into the workforce, and I've been teaching for the past 7 to 10 years now.
Okay.
Middle and high school English.
All right. See, and I thought he was going to say something like, science and technology, pre-law, because my man is smart. So I'm thinking he's going to say, English caught me off guard. That caught me off guard, guys. Sorry to all the English majors, but that just caught me off guard. What happened during that we working as a teacher? And where at, though? What city?
Well, here specifically in Charlotte, I got my first opportunity to teach English at James Martin Middle School. There, my students finished with the highest EOG test scores in the entire school. So if I was a veteran teacher, I would have received a nice bonus. But since I was a new teacher, they just gave me a pat on my back. And then after that, I went to Ridge Road Middle School, which is right up here up the street. I taught English. Students performed really high. I had the best observations from the administrators. So then I decided to go to high school, and then I taught at South Meck for the last couple of years, and then same outcomes there. But I didn't really have the support of administration because I implemented a lot of things that involve systemic racism within my curriculum because I'm a freedom fighter and I'm someone that really believes in justice. And unfortunately, being the youngest black male teacher at South Mecklenburg with 205 students, teaching English was not necessarily the ideal look for some parents. And I was insulted. Teachers at South Meck followed me around, and I was racially profiled. I had parents insult me during parent-teacher conferences. It was a lot to deal with. But it's all a part of the lesson. It's all a part of life.
Now, at what point did you come up with a plan like, I got to do something more?
Well, I always had a desire for more. I was always on a sort of personal development journey. I knew I wasn't going to retire as a school teacher. That was never my plan. I always kind of viewed myself as a boss. So it was just a matter of time before I got to this moment right here. In the midst of that, I started reading the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. I read Think and Grow Rich, and I read The Millionaire Next Door, all in one summer, which is 2019. And then immediately following, I got into Earn Your Leisure with EYL, and I started following them guys. And then they was talking about the stock market, they was talking about investing, and I ventured into the stock market, made money in stocks with Microsoft and Apple, doing some entry day trading. And then I went into crypto, invested into Ethereum, made about $5,000 because I had an early investment on Ethereum at a great price before it ran up. And then I was able to get the asset, which was the real estate, the 0.765 acre lot that my grandma formerly had that I was able to obtain from her because she owed her back taxes.
Okay. All right. So you kept that in the family. So you bought that land. Mm-hmm. What did you do with that?
So the land I ended up having to sell. I sold that land and I got this land. I'm closing on this lot on the 31st, and we're going to build townhouses on it. I didn't anticipate having to sell the land, but there was a lot of things wrong with it. There was a pipe inside of it that went from my neighbor's lot into my lot, and there was also mulch that we had to bring in to build on it. It was a lot of issues that I didn't really anticipate. So we sold it, and then I was able to get this under contract while looking for other assets.
All right, you read the 10X book, you got into some self-development, you discovered EYL, you started following stuff, you learned something about the stock market. Shout out to those guys, EYL. How did you come about real estate though? Like, how did you, what made you say like, yo, I want to do this in real estate? Like, how'd that start?
Okay, so that started by me following you. I knew that I wanted to get into real estate. Facts. I knew I wanted to get into real estate, so I just hit social media, and then I came across your page, and then it was so crazy. I really felt like it was like a sign from God, because right after I followed you, you had post Kenneth Bell, and he was talking about how he was going to start his first classes, and I was like, the value of being number one, the value of being first. So I was like, I had to get into that first class that Mr. Kenneth Bell had. I got into the first class, learned about real estate development, and then I already owned the asset of the land. So while I still owned it, I leveraged that asset to get this asset under contract. I understood the value of hard money lending, private money lending, traditional lending. So I went the hard money route, and I was able to get a private money lender to provide me with a pre-approval letter to say that individual or his company had the funds to be able to pay for the acquisition of this land right here.
Okay, cool. So, all right, you hear that, kids? Follow me on social media. I do some things right.
That's a fact.
I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes I get it right.
That's a fact.
All right, so let's talk about this. How big is this?
Yeah, so this is 2.65 acre lot. It's really big. And initially, we thought we could get anywhere between 20 and 40 townhouses on it. But since we have to include 2 retention ponds on it, we only can get 18.
All right, let's start right there. What is a retention pond, so we can explain that to our viewers?
Okay, so a retention pond is a pond that developers have to bring in to make sure that whenever it rains, the houses and the property that's sitting on top doesn't get flooded. So the retention ponds allow water to seep into it, allow it to essentially go away in a very quick time frame.
Okay, so how many of those you have to have here?
2.
You have to have 2 retention ponds. Yep. Okay, you got this land.
Correct.
All right, how much you pay for the land?
$175,000.
All right, so we got the land. Mm-hmm. Now, you did you talked to zoning, or you did like the preliminary work prior?
Okay, so zoning is very hard to get in contact with, first and foremost.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people know that. So persistence pays. I had to be persistent on a weekly basis, reaching out to people in zoning. But then also, since they already had a relationship with Mr. Kenneth Bell, that may have played a factor into them responding so soon as well. But I was persistent with reaching out to them. I had to reach out to them via email. Then I got on a phone call with them. I told them what I had going on. I told them how we were boxed in by Mattamy and Redwood. And I told them our plans for it. They seemed very intrigued by it. But most importantly, they was very intrigued because we're currently zoned R3, single family, and we have to get it rezoned to R8 multifamily units. We was able to set up a meeting with me, Mr. Kenneth Bell, as well as planning and zoning. And now we have a meeting with Renee Johnson, the city councilwoman, on June 14th with a private luncheon to discuss this land and the project that we have going on.
Okay, that's major. Going to discuss that. So you're going to close first, and then in June, you started the rezoning process, but you didn't necessarily, it's not done yet.
It's not done yet. The rezoning process is going to take really long. The city of Charlotte is really far behind with the zoning process, unfortunately. And then also, we have to go through and do the zoning application. And that's going to be about $20,000 to $30,000 just to submit the rezoning application. And that's the value of, bringing in a partner like Mr. Kenny or someone else to be able to pay for that.
All right. I never heard nobody talk about the actual application fee. I didn't know it cost that much. I knew it'd take like 6 months. And some people get attorneys, some people do it themselves. But I didn't know it takes, $20,000, $30,000 just to get it rezoned. So guys, please take account of these numbers.
Yeah.
Now let's revisit. Now, how many townhomes you can put here?
18.
18. You doing garages?
Yes, we're going to do one garage embedded within the townhome, but I think we're going to make it within enough space to where 2 cars can go in it, but it won't be wide, it'll be vertical. So 2 cars will be able to just drive straight in instead of it being wide, so we can have more space.
Okay, so you can maximize space.
Maximize space.
Okay, and you maximize the space so you can build more, is that correct?
Right, so we can maximize space so we can build more, and so we can go vertical and have 3 levels opposed to 2, because we want to rival that of Mattamy, all of the other townhomes around this area. We want to provide an even better product so we can have a higher price point and take it from there.
Okay, so, and that's how you do it, making yours better than your competition.
Correct.
All right, Streets 101. All right, so listen, tell us a story about your family once owning this land.
Okay.
So tell us that dealings, like how did you get this back into your your last name? Are you gonna name the development after your last name?
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking on it. I'm praying on it. I haven't necessarily determined the name yet, but I'm considering.
All right.
I'm considering.
Now tell us the story. Tell us how you found the deal and all of that.
All right. I found the deal by owning the 0.765 acre lot. Once I got that, I started looking for additional assets. And I was like, I don't want to just have one, I want to have multiple. So in the midst of me looking for that additional asset, I came across a lady who's known my family for quite some time. So I called her. I found her number on Google after having the courage, after reading your book, Flip Houses Like Pancakes.
Like burgers.
Oh, burgers. Like burgers, not pancakes.
Yeah. Editor. Edit that out, editor. Keep that in here. Say no, just keep that in there. Keep that in there. But yeah, Flip Houses Like Burgers.
Flip Houses Like Burgers. Once I had the courage to be able to take the leap, I was calling. I called a lady. I found her number on Google, and I called her. She picked up on the first ring, and I said, "Hey, I noticed that you have that you own some additional lots." She said, "Yeah." She was like, "Who is this?" And I told her who I was, but most importantly, I told her who my family was. She immediately started to call out like my grandma's name, my aunt's name, which is her mom's name. She started calling people within my family out, and I was like, "Yeah, like that's my aunt, that's my uncle, that's my grandma." She was like, "How are they doing?" I'm like, "They're doing really well." And from there, I was like, "Hey, I see you have these lots. Would you be willing to sell me a lot?" The ones that I was looking at, she said that she wasn't willing to sell those, but she was willing to sell me this. So she told me to reach out to her agent that she had running things. I reached out to her the next day, and I said, "Hey, I would love to acquire this lot. I already spoke to Miss Coleman. What will it take for us to really get things going?" She told me. She sent me the contract. I mean, she started like sending me paperwork. We got the contract signed off. We got it on the contract for $175,000. And then I told Mr. Kenny about the deal, and he was willing to partner with me on the deal. I also told the hard money lender about the deal. He was willing to provide the pre-approval letter, and now we're here.
Okay. All right. Now, cool. You have the land for 175. You're gonna do the 18 townhomes. How much you think it's gonna cost you to get this thing built out?
It's gonna cost about $2 million.
All right, so $2 million to build out. How much in gross sales you think you might do?
About $6.5 million.
$6.5 million in gross sales. That's a nice spread, guys. That's a great spread. So now let me ask you: are you still a teacher?
No, I actually got fired for teaching about systemic racism. I was hired to teach English and Black History, and they fired me during Black History Month for teaching about systemic racism. So
wow.
Shout out to them because I'm going to get a nice settlement from that.
A nice settlement, okay. And hey, listen, don't feel bad you get fired. I got fired plenty of times. Yeah. I'm the mascot for getting fired, so don't feel bad if you get fired. It's just all a part of your journey. Thanks. You just have to find out what it is and get on your path that's aligned for you, that's for you, and not live somebody else's dream. All right, so they fired you in Black History Month.
During Black History Month.
Oh man, did you have this on?
I did not have this on, but I had a whole lot of things within my classroom that screamed Black history, like posters of Angela Davis, posters of Malcolm X, Tupac Shakur.
Man, he ain't want the job. You know what I'm saying? Like he had Malcolm up there.
They knew that going in though.
At South Meck?
I taught that at South Meck, but this was I left South Meck and I went to another school.
Okay, let me say this, right? I had a 1.8 GPA in high school, right? I did really well in one class, and that one class was African American history. I did well in. I did a semester at Wilberforce University in Ohio. It's an HBCU. Shout out to them. But I only stayed one semester. I went back home to another semester. My GPA was 0.6.
Yeah.
I passed. The only class I remember passing was my African American study class.
Wow.
And the reason why I passed is because I was so intrigued. It caught my interest. It wasn't boring.
Right.
We spend our whole life about learning about people and things who don't look like us.
Correct.
So therefore, if I continue, you random viewer, if I take you random viewer and show you multiple pictures that you're not in, I'll lose your interest. You'll be like, yo, man, get away from me. All right, I seen it. That's nice, nice. It's get away from me because it's not catching your interest. So it was the same thing with the school system. And yeah, it just didn't, catch your interest. And I tell my students in the Duru Squad, and I'm doing a free webinar this Sunday at 6 p.m. Link is in the bio. Listen, I tell my students all the time, it's not that I'm smarter than you. It's not that he's smarter than you. It's just that we have information that you don't have access to. Don't go out thinking that everybody's smarter than you. They have information that you don't have, and all you have to do, position yourself to get the information and then take action, and eventually you'll find yourself here. All right, so listen, now your family, right? Mm-hmm. So the seller knew your family. Mm-hmm. Seller was good. She called down there and said, hey, call my agent, let's put the deal together. Tell me about your family and how they once had it and how much they had in Charlotte.
Yeah, so great question. My family, we once had 250 acres. My Uncle Lawrence, he was someone that was extremely business oriented. He was an entrepreneur, and he owned 250 acres out here in the Mallet Creek area. But he had kids, and those kids had kids, and their kids had kids. Throughout time, unfortunately, we don't really have anything to show for it. We have 0 acres now, but we are really the reason why they were able to build 485 right up here. Because my uncle, he owned the land where 485 sits on, and he owned portions of Highland Creek as well. So they had to buy certain lots and acres from him and from my family to even have the development of Highland Creek and to even have 485.
Wow. So your family played a significant role in Charlotte.
Facts.
Yeah. Generational wealth is a buzzword. It's a buzzword in that people use it out of proportion, but we don't talk about the most important thing of generational wealth, which is the education.
Correct.
Forget the money. You can buy a whole bunch of, matter of fact, he can hold this as a rental and leave it for the next future generation with his last name. But if he don't teach them the education, all that can be blown in one generation.
Right. That's
how long it takes to blow generational wealth. It takes one generation to blow it. And then they can go right back into poverty without the proper skills of money management, the foundation of money management. I mean, I've been doing this full time since September of 2012. That's the last time I had a job. I've been doing this full time since then, and I've seen entrepreneurs have to go back and get jobs mainly due to bad financial management, bro. It's just, outliving your means, taking on car notes, getting designer belt and shoes to match. And then next thing you know, they got to go back to a job. So you actually want to get them out there and not only focus on the money, but the process. But before the process is give them the basic skills of financial management. Wrapping this interview up, right? I want you to give people your social media where they can follow you. They're gonna have a lot of questions. This is a big project. You said this is gonna be worth, a $6.5 million project? Mm-hmm. All right, so
that's in gross.
That's in gross.
It's $8 million project in total.
$8 million project total.
Yep.
$8 million project, man. Mm-hmm. Only 30 years old, man. Woo! My page be inspiring people, man. I gotta follow my stuff. Realestate Duru, man. But hey, I'm not a guru, I'm a Duru because I actually do this business. So listen, Markayle, how do people follow you on social media?
Yeah, so they can follow me, my Instagram at Markayle D'Angelo. That's MarkayleDeangelo. You can also follow my YouTube channel, Paradigm Shifters. We're going to come out with additional YouTube content and talking about townhouses and venturing into going and checking out other real estate within the Southeast region.
Okay. All right. Paradigm Shifters on YouTube.
Yep. Paradigm Shifters.
And what was the handle?
Instagram handle, Markayle D'Angelo.
Markayle D'Angelo.
Yep.
We're going to put that on the screen, and we're also going to in the description as well, right? So, hey guys, what I want you to do, I want you to watch another series of Buy Back the Block. So I'm going to put a video on the screen. I would like for you to click on that, man. Until next time, I'm Nasser, AKA the Real Estate Guru. I'm not a guru, I'm a Duru because I actually do this business. Peace.